So now Bernie Sanders has been hitting Jeff Bezos on Twitter over and over again after it was revealed that Bezos is basically one of the richest men in America, worth over $150 billion, right? Now, Bernie Sanders is taking aim at not only Amazon, but also other large corporations, and the fact that so many of their workers end up on welfare, things like food stamps and Medicaid. And so he is planning to release a bill to the Senate that would put an end to that. Now, on September 5th, it's being reported by the LA Times, Sanders will introduce a bill that would impose a 100% tax on government benefits received by workers at companies with 500 or more employees. Now, that basically means if an Amazon employee gets $300 in food stamps, that $300 will then be taxed to Amazon. Hey man, look, if your worker takes out welfare, then, well, I mean, that comes from the taxpayers, right? Well, we're not going to let you put that money back in your pocket from paying such low wages. No, we're going to charge you. Your worker gets $300 worth of food stamps, then we're going to take that $300 back from you, the corporation. I love that. Now, this wouldn't only impact Amazon, of course. It would actually impact some of the nation's most profitable companies, including Walmart and McDonald's. So I love this, right? Because this is what strong politics is about. Bernie Sanders knows how to play politics. And that's what this is. He knows policy. He's got good policy, Medicare for all, which is now favored by 7 in 10 Americans, including a majority of Republicans. Bernie Sanders has been pushing that. That's a good piece of legislation that is actually popular and would actually save us a lot of money. But he's also really good at politics. And you can't argue that this is not a political bill. This sends the message of, hey man, if you're going to pay your workers so low that they got to turn to the taxpayer to survive, then guess what? You're going to reimburse the taxpayers because you're basically stealing their money. You are getting a subsidy from the government in order to make sure that, you get a profit, right? These companies are getting subsidized for every employee they have on food stamps and welfare. I love it. Now, the effort here is really to get companies to start paying a living wage in order to avoid said tax, since we know they're not going to do it on their own. Now, that whole myth of, oh no, yeah, the free market is going to come and correct it and boost these people's wages. I mean, if you just cut their taxes, what would we just do? We gave them a $1.5 trillion tax cut, and all they did is go back and buy back their own shares. And then the executives pocket that money and they do it all over again. Every tax cut, they shovel more and more money into inflating their shares. That creates a bubble. And guess what? That bubble is going to burst. Tax cuts are not the answer, but guess what? Raising wages is. And doing some sort of corporate accountability, which is what this is going for. And I absolutely love it. Now, on Amazon, public records obtained by the New Food Economy, a nonprofit news organization, show that thousands of Amazon employees rely on the government's SNAP program in order to make ends meet. As many as 1 in 3 Amazon employees in Arizona, about 1 in 10 in Pennsylvania and Ohio, receive food stamps according to an April report. So that is significant enough to where it might make a little bit of a dent into Amazon's profits, but not enough. Not a gigantic amount, I mean. And so it's just enough to be like, hey, maybe instead of paying that, it might be cheaper for you to start paying a living wage. But now, this is all while Jeff Bezos, by the way, makes hundreds of thousands of dollars every second. And yet, when they talk to him about, man, you got so much money, you're worth over $150 billion by yourself. What are you going to do with that money? I don't know. I don't think there's anything to spend it on except for maybe going to space. Let's go to space. That's what I should spend my money on. Right. Or, maybe he can make it so that workers don't have to live or, survive by going on food stamps, public government assistance. Maybe we could do that. But no, here's what Amazon says in response to this, of course. Amazon spokeswoman Melanie Etches says the figures cited in that report were misleading. They include people who worked for Amazon for a short period of time and who chose to work part-time. Oh, right. We have hundreds of full-time roles available. However, some prefer part-time for the flexibility and other personal reasons. That's not the point. They're talking about, no. We are flexible. We're flexible. However, that's not the point. The point is, pay your workers a living wage. Right now, the median Amazon worker is paid $28,000, $28,446 last year, according to company filings. The federal poverty level for a family of four is $24,600. So that's not a lot of money. And look, even when you think about it, a living wage, which is somewhere around $30,000 a year, that's barely enough to survive as well. It's not big money. So not only that, but look, there is no mention made by the company of how many people are actually working part-time and don't get any sort of benefit. Because later on, they're like, well, we have generous compensation and benefits packages to our full-time employees. Well, how many people work part-time? We don't know. And of course, the companies, a lot of these companies will roll back hours so that you work barely under the line of being considered full-time, so you don't get those benefits. They never mention that. Look, there's a lot of companies that were doing that, they said, because of the ACA. Oh, no, what we're going to do is we're going to work people 36 hours, 35 hours, so that we don't have to help them with their health care. Or we don't have to give them health care. We don't have to give them full-time benefits. You're still a part-time employee. Sorry. Sad day. And then, of course, there's a lot of companies, and I think Amazon is also involved in this, that will hire a lot of people, temp agencies, or from temp agencies, keep them around for a good couple of months, then get rid of them all, because after you are there for a few months, you might get, the option or the ability, I guess, to become a full-time employee, which would make you able to get better pay and better benefits. Instead of doing that, and I've personally been involved in this, I've personally had this happen to me before, not from Amazon, but from other places that I've worked at. When they're 3 months, when your probationary period, when your time comes to where, you could go and transfer from that employment agency to the place that you've already been working for a couple of months, they decide to let you go instead so that they don't have to pay you more. That's how that game is played. Not only that, but there's no mention of the terrible conditions inside the Amazon warehouses. And I've talked about that before in previous shows. They don't want to talk about that. Instead, they're like, oh, no, you don't understand. Flexibility. We're actually the good guys here. Right. That's why this is a brilliant piece of legislation. Because it goes after them for that. This is what I like to see. This is strong, this is progressive, and there's a point. Now, there's no way this can become law, and that's not the point of it. It's not meant to be a law. It's meant to point out the hypocrisy of these companies, right? To show how even though these companies are immensely profitable, they're not sharing their gains with their workers, and maybe they actually should. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.